Area families after police say they've arrested a suspected serial killer tied to a cold case. The victims, 4 women who died decades ago. Homer Lee Jackson now charged with aggravated murder. Tonight, he's in the Multnomah County Jail. And that's where Tim Becker joined us live tonight with more on this cold case. Tim?
Yeah, well, the murders happened between 1983 and 1987. Cold case detectives began revisiting them more than 10 years ago. And the arrest of Homer Jackson, they tell me, is bringing a measure of closure to the victims' families.
For decades, the families of Essie Jackson, Tanya Harry, Angela Anderson, and Latanji Watts have had questions without answers. Their wait is now over.
Flanked by photos of the 4 victims, police told us they used both forensic evidence and other information, much of it dug up by the original case detectives, to track down and arrest Homer Lee Jackson, who's now facing 12 counts of aggravated murder.
Much of the information was in such a fashion that it actually simplified our work once we got a couple of breaks in the case, and I'm not going to be at liberty to discuss exactly what those breaks were.
I learned the victims were found around North and Northeast Portland, the first at Overlook Park in March of 1983. In July, another body was recovered from the Columbia Slough in Delta Park. Then in September of '83, a victim is discovered in a vacant house on Northeast Going Street. And 4 years later, the 4th victim, Latanji Watts, is found on North Going Avenue. All had been strangled, leaving families and friends who've waited 3 decades before finally finding some measure of closure.
But I can tell you that the general sense is relief, but there's also some wariness still because they've waited so long. They're still having a hard time processing it, and some of them are still kind of suspicious that the system is actually going to work for them.
Well, the investigation continues as police believe there still could be more victims. The next step to full closure for the victims' families, getting a conviction. Homer Jackson is due to make his first court appearance here Monday afternoon. Live downtown Portland, Tim Becker, KOIN 6 News.